And welcome back to Music Free Static. I hope you're having a fabulous day. And, I've been thinking, you ever have those days where you sit down and think, I don't have time for that? You know, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, right? Because I've started a course at work on management and stuff like that. And it's got some homework and it's got stuff I need to do. And I've been thinking about that. I was like, do I have time to do this? Right? And you hear that, and there are memes all over the place. So someone's, I don't got time for that. And most of the time, it's kind of a lie, really. Kind of. Okay, before everyone freaks out, we'll talk about how that's actually sometimes true, but often not. But the reality is everybody has the same amount of time, okay? That's just how you choose to allocate that time, right? Now, some of our allocations are kind of set for us, okay? We have to sleep. Now we can choose how much or how little, but ultimately, we should be getting a full, roughly 8 hours of sleep, okay? Now, in my case, it tends to be about 7.5, but that's just how my sleep cycles go. But whatever. Okay. So sleep is going to be in there somewhere. Probably you might have a job. So you probably have a job, but maybe you have a job. Maybe you're at home taking care of the kids or the cats or whatever. But if you've got a job, obviously that's going to take a certain amount of time. Plus you add on commute time, all that type of stuff, right? Speaking of children, hey, having kids, having taken care of kids, there's a lot of time that gets allocated to their care, right? You got maybe getting them ready for school, cooking so that they can eat, actually maybe spending time with them. Those things are sort of important, right? And after you take care of all of those sort of essential things, what do you do with the time that you have left, right? Do you watch TV? Do you write a book? Are you playing Minecraft, right? Who knows? So as I said, I've been thinking about this a lot because, as I said, I've been working towards a promotion at work, and I'm taking this course on management leadership and stuff, and the class has homework, right? I haven't done homework for 20 years, right? It's been a long time since I've been in college. And I've had to look at my time. It's like, all right, where do I have time to do this? And basically, I've said I have to cut back on some of the content I'm producing, right? And it's just for the few weeks of the course, but I'm cutting out one of the videos that I produce every week. I usually produce two, right? So I'll stream 3 days a week, and from that I'll make two videos. One's a Tinker World video, and one's my going solo world, right? But obviously those take time after I'm streaming, and sometimes there's other recording that has to go in to making those videos, right? Well, if I don't produce a video, that saves me some time. It's definitely a couple of hours of time just editing the video and then doing all the clips and all of the stuff surrounding producing a video for YouTube. And if I don't do that, that's time I can allocate to something else. I am having to make a choice based off priorities for me. Now, I'm not stopping streaming. I am still doing one video a week, plus the podcast, right? But I'm having to choose how to spend my time. And we all have choices like that we have to make, right? And sometimes it's choices between something that's good to be doing and something that's bad to be doing. Or sometimes you've got choices where you're dealing with like what's good and what's better and what's best. Okay? So it's easy to say, well, I could be doing my homework, but instead I'm just going to watch a movie. Okay. That may be not the best trade-off, right? And with the good, better, best thing, it's like, well, I could be doing something that's good, but I could be doing something a little bit better than that, or even maybe a better, best choice, perhaps. And all of those are kind of relative to you and your situation, okay? What's best for me is not necessarily best for you or anyone else, okay? And then sometimes we need to choose just stop doing something, right? Now, the idea, right, is to do the big things first. I remember hearing about a demonstration, and I want to say it may have been Stephen R. Covey, who did the presentation. But I could be wrong, okay? I'm not claiming to be all-knowing here. I am not Google or anything that pretends to be Google. But the idea is he had this big jar. And he started by putting in a couple of these big rocks into this jar. And then he started adding other rocks. And while he's doing this, he's giving this talk about time management. And so just keeps adding progressively smaller rocks to fill in the jar. And then eventually like pours in sand or something up and completely fills this jar. And he asked the group he was talking to, what do we learn from this? From this example? Somebody says, well, there's always room for something else. He says, no. The example, what you learn is do the important stuff first. Put the big stuff in first. Because if you've put in all the sand first, you'll never get the big rocks in. Right? So you do the big stuff. Find out what's important and do that stuff first, right? So that's why, okay, need to sleep. Okay. Need to work. Okay, cool. Those are sort of there. Hey, again, kids are important. You take care of those. Yeah, you have more time for Minecraft if you don't feed your kids. Sure, but that makes you a horrible, horrible human being, and go take care of your children. Spend time with your kids, right? As I said, it's sometimes when you're looking at, hey, what can I do here? You said you need to make changes, right? So, it's been shoot, almost 7 years now. Wow. Okay. So back in 2016, I had the opportunity to write a book. Okay. And it's up here on the shelf behind me. But I wrote a book, and it took 6 months from the time I started working the outline to the time I was reviewing the proofs, and then in January when it went on sale. Okay. And I had to choose, what am I going to do? Because I ended up working on this. I'd come home from work, we'd have dinner, and I would get on the computer and I would start writing. And that was my day. For 6 months, basically, this was my week. The exception was I still streamed. I had my 3 streams a week. That was the only time I had to play. Okay. I wasn't doing videos at the time. I was just streaming. But that was it, right? This was my designated playtime. And the other choice I made was Sundays. I didn't do any of it. Sundays, I followed the biblical admonition to keep the Sabbath day holy, and I didn't write. I didn't play on the computer. That was a day to focus on spending time with family and stuff. Okay. And it was fine. And I got the book out, and everything was great. Sometimes you may realize that, hey, my family is important and I am not spending enough time with them. Well, are you working 60 hours a week? That could be an issue, right? Is there a way to cut back the hours you're working without hurting your family because of now you can't pay your bills? But do you maybe, if you're working like 60 hours a week, and I'm just going to random example this because it's just every situation is different. But if you're working that much, is it possible you could find another job that gives you shorter hours and still meets the financial requirements you have? Right? When I was in college, I was working in a deli in a grocery store. Okay. It wasn't a lot. It was like 4 hours a night for 5 days a week or something like that. But it helped pay the rent. Okay, which we sort of needed to do. Now, we had scholarships and stuff to pay for college. My wife and I were both going to school at the time. But we needed to be able to pay rent. Obviously we needed to buy food and all that stuff. So I was working, and I ended up having to cut out some of college. Okay. And it's one of those things. Sometimes those choices are hard. I'm choosing between two good things. Going to college and getting my degree is a good thing. That's why I was here in the first place, right? But my wife was also working on her degree, and we had new kids at home. So as we were talking about it, I said, okay, I'm failing some of my courses anyway because I was stupid and took all of my gen eds my first year and was trying to do a full load of nothing but 300 level or 400 level math courses and computer science courses. I was not doing well. So I went back to be part-time. So I was only taking 3 classes. I was able to focus on those classes, pass those classes, and then, but also work. And so we had money. But then I had an opportunity to take a job doing tech support for an internet provider, doing dial-up tech support. This is back in the 90s, right? So, cool. The hours were a little bit better. The pay was better. So I was actually earning more money for fewer hours, right? This was awesome. Okay, it was great. And it allowed my wife to finish her degree. And then I was able to go back full time because she was able to stay home with the kids, because that was part of the deal is, hey, I'm part-time, I'm working, but I'm also home more. Right? So she was able to do her classes, and I was able to go back. And I graduated a year later, but it ended up being a good thing. Again, I had to trim down my course load. Because, yeah, sure, 12 or 15 hours is a normal load, but when it's all upper divisional math classes and computer science classes, that gets to be tough. So trimming it down was the right choice, right? As I said, it was a choice between good things, right? Going to college, getting my degree was a good thing. Working to be able to feed my family was a good thing, right? But I had to set priorities. As I said, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? There was a lot of stuff going on. So my grades and the courses I was taking played a major part in that too, right? And it wasn't like one day I just told my wife, no, this is what we're doing. No, we talked about it together. And it's like, okay, here's how we're going to handle this. And it worked out well. And there are some times that, sometimes things can multitask a little bit, okay? And now multitasking doesn't work as well as people like to think. And sometimes it works when you're younger, but not so much when you're older, right? Those types of things. But like, there are some things that I like to do that I can do potentially something else, right? I like listening to podcasts, right? There's some great podcasts. Like, I like to listen to the Force Center podcast. They talk about Star Wars. Comic Book Nation has a couple of good podcasts. Phase Zero is a great podcast about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Their main podcast is good, just about general geeky movie news, right? And movies, TV, all that stuff. Those are great. I don't have time to just sit down and listen to a podcast. But I have a commute. Okay, it's not a long commute, but it's because I live close enough to work that I walk. That means I've got it's like a 12-minute commute that I do 4 times a day because I come home for lunch. So that means if we round up to 15 minutes to make the math easier, there's an hour's worth of time every day that I can listen to podcasts. Plus, I can listen to them while I'm doing something else, right? So if I do have some free time or some time where I'm grinding out something for a video, yeah, I could pop on one of those podcasts and listen to that while I work. Or if I want to watch a movie or something. I don't watch movies like I used to. Heck, the only TV show I'm watching right now is The Acolyte. I was watching Doctor Who, but that season ended. So, yeah, I can dedicate, here's 45 minutes. I can sort of focus on this Star Wars show that I really enjoy. Or Doctor Who, which has been kind of meh for me this season. Some has been great, some has been kind of, all right. But that's something I can kind of pay attention to. But, again, if I'm in Minecraft and just digging a hole or something like that, it's great. But then sometimes whatever you're working on just needs to wait so you can do the other things, right? So so for example, I couldn't have done this content creation gig while my kids were little. There was too much going on. Okay. And now I didn't get into it till they were significantly older, right? So that was fine. They were able to, I said, take care of themselves. Sounds a little bit wrong, but they were most of the time off playing and doing their own thing anyway. So it's like, oh yeah, I can stream, and that's great. Instead, I wasn't doing videos, so that's cool. As they got older, they got into high school, and then later going to college. It's like, yeah, I just don't have the time commitments now that I used to. So now I can do this content creation thing a little bit more seriously. Or, talk about when I was writing my book, right? Things had to wait. Or college actually is even a better example of, so college is a good thing. I'm going to have to slow it down. I didn't put it on hold. I didn't stop going to college. But it's like, all right, let's slow that down. We'll cut out a few courses so I can focus on the things that matter. The things that are important. Right? And as you start prioritizing that stuff, you start looking at, what am I removing or what am I doing and why am I doing it? Okay. And so when I was writing my book, I cut out just about everything except for those 3 days of streaming. But one of the things I also cut out was something I really enjoyed, which was watching the Denver Broncos play football. Right? Because it was fall. This was football season here. And what I would do is I'd record the games, and I'd watch them Monday morning, and, fast forward, I could take an hour, okay? It would take an hour 15 or something to watch a game. Great. That was fun. I liked it. I didn't have that hour anymore, right? Because in the morning, I'd get up, do some of those basic housekeeping. I say housekeeping because I wasn't keeping house, but I was reading my email, checking the news, not nearly as in depth as I have some other times in my life, but just a general vibe check. What's going on in the world? How are things doing? We okay? Okay, right, those types of things, right? And then if I had time in the morning, I'd write a little bit, right? I just did not have time to do some of those extra things. And then the next year, again, starting roughly the same time, actually it may have been even a little earlier than that, I was asked by the same publishing company to produce 3 training series, video training series, which was fun because I had all this experience doing videos and doing streaming and stuff. It's like, oh, yeah, I think I can make that work. And it was really cool. So awesome. But it meant I had to cut out a lot of the fun stuff in my life. No, I had a really busy 3 years. I wrote a book, produced 3 video series, and then I was asked to teach a class at the university I work at. Teach 2 classes, one each semester, because they were closing out a degree and the professor who was supposed to be teaching those classes left. It's like, oh, could you teach systems administration and advanced systems administration? Yes, I can. And again, I'm having to write all of my curriculum. I didn't have time to do all of this stuff, right? All of that football I used to watch, yeah, I stopped. And then it turned out that I didn't really miss it. And it's like, all right, I now have more time in my life to do something else, right? Sometimes other choices are, you need to maybe cut back on all of the stuff you're doing and give yourself a chance to chill, right? To avoid burnout, right? If you're like, I feel that once in a while in my general content creation life, okay? Because I go to work, if there's 9 hours a day for work, right? It's 8 hours of work and an hour lunch. Oh, and let's go ahead and add the commute on the other side of it. So 9.5 hours a day allocated to work. Okay, cool. Now I come home and I have dinner and spend a lot of time either streaming or videos or uploading. It's like on Mondays, Monday evening is when I tend to upload all of my clips to socials, right? All the creator media nonsense, right? I'm uploading clips to TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Tumblr, right? And that just takes a while. Partly just because uploading it is annoyingly slow. Now, some of that's my bandwidth. Some of that is the fact that just Tumblr and Facebook's business site just sucks. It's so hard. They'll often just, oh, no, we're not going to deal with this video today. Start over. Well, I'll be uploading videos, and then Tumblr says, no, you're not logged in anymore. But it doesn't take me to a logout screen. It just stops. Like I'll go to upload a video. No, it just removes it from the post. No, sorry, this isn't happening now. Or it just hangs. I'll go to save a post. It's like, okay, schedule it. And it just sits there. Yeah, I don't think so. It kind of stinks. Okay. So, yeah, it's a lot of time. And sometimes I start to feel a little burnout. And it's like, all right, what am I doing too much of? What do I need to slow a little bit so that I can actually have some time for me to have fun, right? It's like Minecraft. I play Minecraft because it's fun. Every once in a while it starts to feel like a chore. It's like, okay, let's take a step back and just do something fun, right? So sometimes I'll pull up Disney Speedstorm, which, shoot, I haven't played that for a couple of months. It's too bad. That's a lot of fun. But again, priorities. So, and sometimes the priorities are, I want to play a video game. I really like Minecraft. I like Speedstorm, but I like Minecraft a little more. Let's go play that, right? These are the things that's like, these are the choices that get made. And yes, are there bad choices? Yes. If you decide, nope, I'm just going to sit and play Minecraft and ignore the fact that I haven't fed my kids in 3 days, that's a bad choice, okay? Don't do that. Right? Spend time with your family. But the way it works is you end up having to set priorities and say, all right, let's do the important stuff first, right? I remember one movie I really like is Mr. Holland's Opus. And it's about a musician who falls back on a teaching degree and goes to teach at a high school. And eventually falls in love with teaching, but part of what the movie is about is him having to find priorities. You know, he spends so much time focusing on work that he neglects his family. Right? He's got the symphony he wants to write that sits mostly unwritten for most of his life. You know, he noodles on it once in a while because he's spending all the time working on, doing things for his family or doing stuff for school or all of this. And what's fun is the whole point of Mr. Holland's opus is as he gets his priorities straight in a lot of ways, right? That's definitely part of the story. But come the end of the movie, and it's like, all right, he's kind of feeling like his life is sort of wasted, right? He had all the stuff he wanted to do, and he didn't do it. And it comes back, and he has this. He gets to see his students, the students who have graduated, that he's made a difference in their lives. And realizing that, hey, his life wasn't wasted. Look at what he's done. Look what you've done. Look at this. This is awesome, right? So sometimes, yeah, we don't always see the results, okay? But when we sit and prioritize, like, what am I going to do? What's going to work for me? And yeah, some things that you want to do don't get done. There's a book I want to write. I have some ideas for a sci-fi fantasy type story that I've noodled around with. I've written a few scenes for and stuff over the years. I think about it from time to time. Ooh, this would be cool. Yeah, the reality is there I have other things that I want to do more than I want to write the book. So the book remains unwritten. Okay? And that's okay. That is okay. Again, we've got priorities here. And that's good. Priorities are a good thing because they help us focus on what's best in life. And unlike Conan's answer from Conan the Barbarian, focusing on what really is the best ways of using my time and not neglecting ourselves in that analysis. So, yeah, so this is something I'm going through right now. So it's been on my mind. Maybe it'll help you, or maybe you'll just decide that, you know what, I have better things to do than listen to this old guy ramble for half an hour. And that's cool too. But if you have things going on in your life, like the video or rank it on your podcast player, whatever. Subscribe so you can get all sorts of other fun things. Right? I talk about lots of stuff. So yeah, sometimes it's home things, sometimes it's tech, sometimes it's gaming, whatever. It's fun. So check that action out. And if you want to support the show, you can do it at musicfreegaming.com. And that gives you early access to the audio podcast. So awesome. But until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Static signing off.